Hi, Pauline. How
Morning.
are you?
Hi, Justin. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you? Hi, Mariam. How are you doing?
I'm good. Alright.
Are you people fine?
Yes, but it has rained.
Yes.
I know it has rained. Actually, I've also just arrived, but we had to do the call because it has been a while.
Yeah. Uh,
So, how far with the projects I left behind? Did you successfully add the URLs?
I I've been a bit up and down, but I've been to add the URL and follow the tutorial. It's actually long.
You were in position to add the URLs in the tutorial?
I was trying that out before this class because over the weekend I've been a bit up and down, so I didn't get time.
Oh, okay. Mariam, did you finish up the URLs?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Can I have a look at your screen as Pauline follows along?
Currently,
You're using the phone.
I'm using Windows, but I did it using Ubuntu.
Oh, you did it using Ubuntu. Oh, so today you're not going to practice.
I'll practice another session.
Oh, okay.
I do it alone. Then I miss up at
All right.
Ubuntu.
Pauline, could you please share your screen and then we try it? Pauline,
Hello?
could you please share your screen
Yes.
and then
Hold on.
we try it together?
Oh, okay. All right. Let me log on to my PC. It
Okay.
will take a few minutes.
All right. Hi, Arinda. How are you? Arinda? How are you doing? I can't hear you. Oh, okay. Okay, what I can do is let me just share my screen.
I've connected now.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yes?
All right. Let me share entire screen. Yeah, it's sharing. I don't know if you can now see my screen.
Not yet.
Are you able to see my screen?
Not yet, not yet.
Oh. Okay. I think it's long.
Just give it some time.
Right. The network is a bit slow. It's draining again.
Oh, okay. Let me just share my screen. So let me open the project.
All right.
I guess it's this one. Are you seeing my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So actually this project has almost everything in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another URL. Then I show you how it was. These ones were done. I'm hoping we did the CSS together, not so?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so first things first, the first thing you always do when you're starting a Django project is activate your virtual environment. So it's what I'm going to do. My environment is called my env. So after activating, you go to your project, like open your project folder, which is website for my case. Then run my server. So after running the server, I open your work in the browser. So localhost 8000, it looks like this. So in a tutorial we had something like this. When you go to home, you're supposed to remain on the same screen. When you go to about, it's supposed to switch automatically to the about page. But I forgot to load static. When you get this error, that means you forgot to load static on your about template. So to fix this error is something simple. You just have to come back to the about page. You have to look for your template. Inside the blog app, look for about, which is here, and then on top of your file, before you do anything else, you're supposed to load static. So your CSS can't render properly without this tag, like it has to be there. Load static, just. So after this, run your server again and see if it works. So when I refresh, yeah, now it works fine, and I can switch between these different pages. So when I go to home, it takes me back. When I'm to go to the about page, it also brings me this side, and actually I can even add Bootstrap. I can do anything I want. I can add JavaScript. Those are all static files. So you can even beautify it and make it look nice, as you're going to see. But let me first show you. Let's add the third URL. That's the contact. So to add the URL, the first thing you do before you even think of the template, you need to create a view function for it. So you have to look for your views, and then you create a, oh, it's already here. So I have a function defined to handle the contact page, but what's rendering now is HTTP response. So let me show you. Let me see if it works. Did I make a URL to handle this? Let me see. No, I don't have it. Okay. So remember we first started by returning HTTP responses before we rendered an actual file. So what we do is also create a URL for it, and then we create a path, call it contact. Don't forget the slash, it has to also be there. Otherwise you run into errors telling you that you forgot the trailing slash. And then this has to be views.contact. By contact referring to the name of the view function, and our view function is called contact this side. So the name here doesn't matter. I can call it anything. I can even call it Justin. But what matters is what function, like the view function. This really matters, and this doesn't matter, even if you call it anything else. But this one has to actually match the name that you gave to your view function. Then for the URL, like to be important to identify the URL, just like in the notes I shared, this is what they always refer to, like the name here, but we shall add it later on. Let's first stick to that and see if it works. So after creating a path for my contact, remember my view function is just going to return this HTTP response that says contact page. So let's have a look in the browser and see what it returns. So on this side, so when I switched from about localhost 8000/about to contact, localhost 8000/contact, HTTP response is not defined. Why? I know why, because I guess I moved it somewhere. Before you use anything, you have to import it in Django. So from Django.http, if you're going to use HTTP response, always import it. Import HTTP response. So now let me run again. Yeah. So now I currently see the contact page, but that's just a message. What if you want to render a form? Like let's say for a contact page, most of the time you have a title, you have a subject, you have the body, and then you have a button to send your form. What if you want to like return the whole form? So this won't be like appropriate anymore, the HTTP response, but instead the render will be working for us. So instead of returning this, you want to render a whole page. So what I'll do here is update my view function. Instead of returning the HTTP response, now this time around to render a page. So it takes in the default parameter that's request, and then also the name of the template, which is contact.html. So as you name it here, that means you're going to, Django is already going to look for a file called contact. So what you do is you go to your template and also add that contact page, which is contact.html. Like this. So here you put in the structure of HTML. You put in maybe your H1, maybe contact us. You put in maybe you put in your form. The action for now, but later on we shall look at how the actions come like the action attribute. Here I just need an input field, so I'll just put in input, type text, and this, and let me just say consent text area. Then I also put in a submit button. input with a type of submit and value maybe send. Yeah. Now let's just check. Actually here I just have to update my HTML because I don't have to edit the URLs anymore. I already said if at any point someone tries to call upon contact, please return for them the contact.html. So it's just going to read directly this file. I don't have to update anything else. My URL is just fine. So I just have to update my HTML. So that's another advantage of using Django, yes, and I have something like this. So that's my form. When I want to place these things on different lines, I can even include a BR. So the advantage of, about Django is that you can, when it comes to like, it gives you the setup, and when it comes to updating, you just have to edit one file, and then the rest will be done automatically. So when you want to make changes to the templates, you don't have to go to the URLs. When you want to change the URLs, you don't have to edit anything in that in the other files. So the structure is like really very organized. You don't have to like mess up your things. And then errors in one file like don't entirely affect the whole application, so that you have to like repeat everything from scratch. You just have to rectify the errors in that one file. Yeah. So I have my basic form here. Then it looks like this. Then you also put the button, the send button on the new line. So just do a line break, normal BR. So here in templates, you just write normal HTML actually. Nothing like Python. So I have my contact form ready. So now when it comes to adding CSS, since we already have the static file, so all I have to do is just add the link in my file and also add the load static. I don't have to write like separate CSS for the contact page. When I wanted to inherit the CSS other files have, I just have to input the link. Just like when you're using external CSS, you just link that to different pages. So Django is no difference. You just have to come and put that link static, then you also put the name of the file, which is style.css. So sometimes you might actually find in most books they have a CSS folder that comes before here, and sometimes they even prefix the app name even for templates. In some books you're going to find okay, let me add a folder here, CSS. So here you just actually have to match like when their CSS is moved. So you see now this part will no longer work, and my CSS won't be applicable on actually on all the pages. I have to make sure I edit and update them. But before I do that, I have to always load static. So let me first open for you in the browser. So why does it work? Why does it? Okay, I haven't changed it yet. I thought I'd moved this one. So let me see if it still works. Yeah, you see it's no longer working. Why? Because I've changed the path. So in most books you're going to find something like this when they have changed the path. That means it's not going to work unless you prefix the CSS folder here. Like it's going to be like this. Why they always do this? Because sometimes you might have Bootstrap, you might have JavaScript, you might have like other static files. So it's always better you know like this is my CSS, this is my JavaScript, and for JavaScript they always put JS / maybe the JavaScript file. Bootstrap, they always put Bootstrap. So this is how you're going to be arranging them. That means you also have to change the path. So even when I go back to my home, my CSS is not going to work. So here it's going to work. Let me see home. Oh, I don't have home. I just have localhost 8000. You see the side, the CSS is no longer working. Why? Because I changed the path. So even in these files, I have to come back to the different HTML files, and then also to fix that CSS slash, then also come to my index and do CSS slash. And you find out like this is tiresome. What if you have 10 files, or what if you have 100 templates, what if you have 1000? So will you do that for all the files? So this is where template extending comes in, but we're going to look at that after we work on the URL. So we're going to see how to have like HTML structure defined in one file, then the other files just extend it. So you only have content that's independent to like your other files. But before we look at that, let's first make the contact work by also adding the URL. So what I have to do to add that URL, I have to come to these files. So I have to come back to the URL. Okay, let me first add it even here on the home page. So I'm just going to make a copy. Okay, let me write from scratch. You have your A tag, and then the href is going to be, okay, let me first do contacts. So the href is going to be like this. So this is how you write URLs in Django. You don't just write like the about page, just how we used to do in HTML. Django follows a given pattern, like when you want to make, because this time around we're rendering view functions. So you want these particular files to carry on the logic in those respective view functions. So you have to type URL, then you put quotes, and type here like what we put here like is the name of the URL. This, the one we put beside here. So when you look at these ones, like they all have names apart from like the home has this.home was named home, and then this.about was named about. So I also have to name contact. So I have to come here. These names can be different. You can name it anything you want, but you have to make sure you maintain that name. So if I'm to call this Pauline, that means I have to come back to my file, and this is the name actually what we carry this side. But they always prefer you maintain the same name of the view function, because that way you will know, like these are just like unique identifiers to identify, okay, when I'm at about, like this is how I named it, and this is how I'm going to be referring to it. But this can also work, but it's just like a best practice when you give it the same names as the view function names. So now when I'm to load, let me stop myself and run again. Yeah, I want it to the index page. So when I come back this side, I must see my contact added. And when I click on contact, it takes me to that contact page. But remember, like the name we used in here wasn't contact, but we used Pauline. Why? Because for Django, it just matches the name you put beside. So if you give this a different name, make sure you maintain it in your URL. This was just an example, but like I told you, the best practice is to give them the same names as your view function names. So I'll just update this, but just remember it can be anything. Why I'm calling it contact? Because our view is called contact. So it's always better you maintain for organization. So when I also come back this side, actually not when I change that and I forget to change the name this side. If I name my URL like this, then here I just put in something different. Let me just maintain that and you see if it still works. You see, as I even complained, they give me that nice error. No reverse match at dash, reverse for polling was not found. So I'm trying to give it a name that wasn't found. So Django actually looks through all these files before it outputs anything on your screen. So be very, very careful when you're giving names. So this one actually just goes to the URLs and then looks out for a name called polling and you can't find it. Why? Because you updated it from polling to contact. So I have to come back this side and update to contact like this. So after doing this, you just restart your server and open your app in the browser again. So then click on contacts. Now it works without any errors. And also my URL updates automatically this side. So when I want this structure to be put on the different pages, what I have to do is come this side and okay, just copy like the way it is here. Copy, then you go to your contacts, you put just above the H1, you put your page like this, like your code. Then maybe even on the post you want the navigation, because the navigation is always maintained on the different pages. The navigation and the footer. These are things that are always found on the different pages. So even here, yeah. So now I just have to edit where which one has to be where. So now when I come back and do home, you see now home sticks to the same. It stays there. If I don't want it to stay there, so I have to come back this side and make sure when I'm on home, when I'm on home, I stay on home. But when I'm on contacts, I don't stay there. I have to change this from a hashtag, like from a dead link, to the actual URL. Typing home, and remember home is matching, like we're just matching the name we put beside. If you called it something different, please maintain that name. So after doing this on contact, I want to stay on contact, so I can just put this to a hashtag. But when I'm on contact, I want to go to the about page. So you do the same beside. When you're on the about page, you need to go to the home page. That means you have to change this from a dead link.
Excuse me, Justin.
Yes.
I joined a little late, but my question
Yes, I can hear you.
is we are dealing with the URLs right now, right? We are dealing with URLs.
Yes. Like we're trying to put a navigation.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Did you try out the URLs?
Yes, I did.
Did they work properly?
Yeah, they did. They did work.
Oh, okay. Okay, we're trying actually to do the same thing this time around. So when I'm in contact, when I click on home, it takes me back. When I'm home and I want to go to about, brings me this side. When I'm on about and I want to go to contact, also like just does it the same way. Like.
Okay.
Any questions? So you can organize like your CSS properly. You can download your Bootstrap and just add like make real nice navigations. So when I want to add Bootstrap, I can still do the same thing. You just come to the Bootstrap website when you want Bootstrap online. Remember, Bootstrap is also like a static file, so it lies under the static files. So you just come grab your link, but remember, from Bootstrap you just want like the href, so you don't copy the whole link, just like we used to do in HTML and CSS alone. So for Bootstrap, our interest is in the href, so you only want to copy this, the URL, this one. Okay, let me just copy everything. You have to be careful when copying this. Okay, this one. So I'll just copy this, then you come this side, put your Bootstrap folder inside static, create a folder called Bootstrap. So in some books you're going to find, because Bootstrap comes in, you have JS, you have CSS. So inside Bootstrap you create this is a CSS link, so you also create a subfolder called CSS. Then okay, this works when you're working with Bootstrap Offline. Okay, let me just leave it there, but this works when you're having Bootstrap Offline. I'm going to show you how to also add Bootstrap Offline. Let me first show you online. So what you do, we want Bootstrap on the index page. You simply come, because I want CSS to override Bootstrap, so we put Bootstrap above CSS. So you make sure your Bootstrap link is just above, since these files are executed from top to bottom. So you do static, and then you do, you paste your link here, and then I have to make sure you play around with the quotes properly. So since I'm using double quotes outside, inside I have to maintain the single quotes. Yeah, it has to be like this. So let me check my home page. Is my Bootstrap working well? Not yet. So I can try, let me see, let me add something on the home page. Yeah, my Bootstrap is not yet working. So what could be wrong? I guess it's smiling still. So Bootstrap sometimes is very funny. Okay. So I have to come back this side, copy the URL the way it is. Okay. So what I'm going to do is copy everything and then first paste it the way it is this time round, like here. But remember, it can't work just like this. So I have to copy this carefully and make sure I grab everything. Like this. Then I come here and replace. So remove this one. Okay, remove this one and just paste this. so I can get rid of this since we don't need it. Still it's not working. Let me restart my server and see. Oh, it's not. What could be wrong? What could be wrong? What could be wrong? Okay. Bootstrap Online is becoming a problem. Okay, let me use Bootstrap Offline. So let me download. So when you download, it's going to come out as a zipped folder. You have to unzip it. So I'll come show in folder. Then extract, and I want to extract okay, let me extract in my downloads. Then show files, so this is the zipped folder for Bootstrap. This is the one which is unzipped. So I'll just rename this one to, instead of having this long name, since I'm going to need this in the path, I'll just leave it, rename it to Bootstrap. Then after unzipping, you have to copy this and put it in your Django project. So is our Django project. It's this side, Django girls, then inside log, inside static. You have to be careful. So I'll just get rid of this and just paste the folder. Remember, I was deleting the other folders that I created manually, but this time around, this is my actual Bootstrap folder which has CSS inside. So it's now the path I was telling you to follow when you're doing Bootstrap Offline. So instead of us getting Bootstrap from the website, because this is tricky, even when you have like slow internet, sometimes it can fail to load. So why don't we have something permanent? Even if you don't have internet, even if we do, it will still work. So what we do is, you now have to follow the path. So we need to go to your static. Since I've added Bootstrap, so you see now it's inside Bootstrap. Then you want to load Bootstrap CSS somewhere, this one. So what you have to do is follow the path. So static, okay, after the static folder, go to a folder called Bootstrap, and then you do /CSS, then /bootstrap.css. So I'm directing Bootstrap to be found here, then you can even do bootstrap.min.css, but I want this. So this is the file we want to load. So let me just restart my server and see if it works. Yeah, this one works fine. So you try Bootstrap Offline, because for it, even if you have internet, even if you don't have, it will still work. So actually you do the same for the other files. So even if I click on contact, you see, but it's not working. Why? Because I linked Bootstrap in one file. I only linked it here on the index page. That means it only applies on the index page. So this brings us, because like you find the content this side is similar, content in the index, in the home page, about, posts, this side, like we have a structure everywhere. So this brings us to template extending. So how does it help us? Is that it's going to help us inherit content from different files. So when you know, like for every HTML file I'm going to have, I need a structure. So why don't you define, Django gives you the power to define the structure in one page, and then you just extend that functionality to the different pages, so that when you have a structure on the contact page, when you have like a structure, if you know, like for every contact page you need a structure, for every home page you need a structure, so that you get that structure, put it in one file, then I extend the structure to the rest of the file without you having to type it again. I don't know if you're getting it, but let me show you the Django girl story when it comes to template extending. So when you visit the Django Girls blog, they have a section for template extending. And they're telling us another nice thing Django has for you is template extending. What does it mean? It means that you can use the same parts of your HTML for different pages of your website. Templates help when you want to use the same information or layout in more than one place. You don't have to repeat yourself in every file, and you don't want to change something. You don't have to do it in every template, just one. So what they do for it, they even call it a base template. It's like, okay, that's our foundation for the HTML. For all HTML files, they have to inherit from the base template. So from that base template is where you put your SEO structure, put your links to CSS, because you know CSS is going to be on every file. In every template, you need CSS to be linked. In every template, you need Bootstrap to be linked. So just to avoid these mistakes, like now this one, when I'm to click, when I'm on the home page, it works fine, Bootstrap works fine. But when I go to about, it doesn't work. Why? Because I didn't link. I forgot to like add this link in the contact page. So Django saves us by helping us like create a base, like you've been positioned to create a base template, and then the others just inherit. So they're telling us a base template is the most basic template you extend on every page of your website. So they're telling us to create a base template. It's also like a file, so it's going to be called base.html, and you're going to have a structure like this. So now for them, they're even prefixing the app name before their templates, but for us it's just direct, since we only have one app inside. So when you open it, you add the following structure. No. Okay. Then open it and then add the following code. No, we don't want this. So our base template is going to look like this. You're just going to define the things that you want to be common on every page. So in the other pages, you just put code. Okay. I don't bring it well the way I expected. Okay. This is the line I was looking for. So you just extend, you define your things in one page and then you extend. So you write syntax like this on top of your files. Extend blog/base.html. Okay, let's just see it practically. So we're going to have something like this. And actually this works when you when all your things are coming from your database. Now like for these posts, I'm going to show you like you don't have to repeat everything. Okay. So what they told us to do is you come and create a base template like this, base.html. Then in this file is where you're going to be defining your structure like this, and then don't forget to load static. And based on like on different websites, you people, what do you think is always common on every like web page?
Please repeat that.
The nav bar is always common on the different pages. So what we always do is get that nav bar and put it in the base template, because you're going to need it on every page. Even the footer, maybe like your side menu, you might have a side footer. So what we're going to be doing, like things that you want to appear on every page, you put them in the base template. So let's try that and you see. So what you're going to do here is get our navigation, like get our, even let me first get the links. So I'll copy the links from this side and put them inside the base. Since every file is going to be inheriting this, that means it's going to also carry on the links. So the functionality for Bootstrap CSS will also be carried on in the other files. Then we also want to do something. Now this is also like these are templates. So we also want the navigation. Let me first put the navigation if I forget. So I'll even wrap it in the nav tags. Like this. I don't want this button. Okay, so I'll just copy this and put it in the base. If I put in this, so I know this is going to be common on all the different pages. And then on top of that, we also want to add in some custom content, because what you want to see on the home is not the same thing you want to see on the about page. So this is where I put in these blocks, and these ones are going to be like where like things that are independent to those respective pages, because you're going to have content that's specifically meant for the home page, and you're going to have content that's specifically meant for the about page. You're going to have content that's specifically made for the contact page or posts page or like any other page. They always have independent content, because I don't think like your website will have content that looks alike on the different pages. So and that's the content that's going to be fitting in here, like end block. So Django comes with like the templating engine. So this is like a container that's going to be like wrapping our content. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to like now get rid of all these other things. Get rid of all the code in the index. I don't need it. Get rid of all the content in the about page, because these things are the same. So I got all the things that are common on different pages and put them in one file. Okay, first let's get rid of the content in the post. Let me show you the contact. We need to get rid of it. So it's now I have 80 files. So what this does is we're going to just extend. So what you do on top of the file, right? Extends. So I want to extend the structure, because I'm no longer having the structure in my about page. Okay, let me just, because we're going to do it on every page. Okay, doesn't matter. So you write extends like this, make sure extend. I've ever like had a mistake where I just wrote extend, then I look for the error. So make sure it extends. It's in Pro. Then you put those quotes and then you put the name of the template you want to extend and that's HTML. So when you have this line, it means that you extend it all the functionality from the way it is, be it the navigation, be it that like something that you want to appear on every page, you edit it on your about page before doing it. So after like extending that functionality, you want now content specifically meant for the about page. So this now the content you put in this block step. So you just put the content. So some people call it block content. In some books you see block come here and end block. Just like we did for last time, and had to say end for, because when you forget to end, it also like make you run into settings. Maybe now I want H1 that says hello Django girls, or about the Django girls color. So when I come to the end of the same thing, so I'll simply come this side and say extends then put my quotes, then I put the name of the file, which is base.html. Also extend our navigation to the index page. Then I also want to add in content that's specific to my index page. So I'll just put in the content. And then say end of, like this. So here I'll just put in maybe a tool that says hello Django. So after restarting, you open your browser. And then reload. And since I didn't extend this on the contact page, I expect something empty because I removed all the content. Let's pass it. Yes, I expect a blank screen for the contact page because maybe I removed everything. But what about the home page? When we said localhost 8000 just. You see, I get my navigation and I also get the other content that says hello Django. And when I'm to click on the about, you see, I see about Django Girls Kampala. So that's really template extending. And when you look at these files, they now look clean, no repetition, but they have actually everything linked properly. So you don't have to repeat like all the things. Like now you see, my homepage only has like a H2 that says hello Django, and about is very clean. So all the like messy things, I put them in the base. Like everything on the same page. So like the different pages throughout my website, I put them in the base. And then these other files hold content that's particularly meant for them. So you don't want to put navigation this side, like you define the anchor tags everywhere. You just have to put one file, just extend the functionality. Because you don't see any navigation, and we have it to the out page. Why? Because I will extend it. So it's from the power of this block, just that extends, you see? We have it common on the different pages. When I click on home, oh, it's not taking. It should. Maybe I have to check my link. I missed it somewhere maybe. But any questions so far? Any questions where you haven't understood? Because that's basically template extending. Now I just have to fix the navigation, make it look nice. Any questions? Yes, Pauline. Pauline, I can't hear you. I don't know, my network is bad today, but anyway, let me just make the navigation look nice a bit, so that we have nice looking work, not just this messy work. So on home, yeah, that's why it wasn't. Okay, but I'm on the home page. I didn't want to. Oh. Yeah, maybe I have to now like customize these URLs depending on which page I am. But at least now when I want to go to my contact, I can still do the same thing. I just have to come this side and say extends. Extends the name of the template, which is base.html. Then I start a block where I'm going to add custom content for the contact page. So you call it block content. Then you have to end that block by saying end block. You say, let's just put in a3 that says contact page. So here you can even add a form, the other form, but you don't have to worry about the rest of the things. They will be done automatically. So when I come this time around, okay, I want to be in position to go to the home page. See? Now this side, my navigation is common on all the different pages. So when I want to make it look nice, I'll just still come this side and add the different classes. Maybe nav, bootstrap. So just look for a nice navigation. So you can get all this and then you just put the, maybe I just want these classes. So I'll just get this. So now this is now normal CSS. So you just have to come and then get and put it here. Get these classes, you make them nice. So you see, I also have to just do it on one page like this. Like I don't have to go ahead and change. Now even if I go to the about page, I'll still have something like this. So my navigation was like I say, but I just have to make changes in one file, then it will apply to the rest of the files. When I want to like get another beautiful class, for maybe for the actual classes to style my links, I'll still come back here, choose a nice one. When I want a dark navigation, I can select change this from, so let me say, okay, nav item, So now this is no more what? No more Bootstrap. So you have to add the classes. Class. Since Bootstrap power lies in the classes, so you have to put them so well. Also this side. Even here. Then I want a dark navigation. I can say BG dark. See? Now I have a navigation and it cuts across, but the content is independent on the different pages. See? Any questions? How do I change the text color? You see? It's like this. Yeah. So you just add text white, that class. Since our navigation is dark, so you want the text to be at least white. So you just add that Bootstrap plus to your anchor elements. So let's make them white. And yeah. So any questions? Because now when you look at our files, it's only the base template that has a lot of things. These ones are very the content is minimal and it's only independent to those particular pages. Same for contact, but at least the navigation, they all have a navigation. So when you want things that are going to appear on every page, it's always good you put them in one place and then you just extend that functionality or just inherit. So when it comes to OOP, I guess you looked at inheritance. Any questions? Mercy? Any questions, Pauline? Oh. You can't hear me. Oh, mercy, Bootstrap actually didn't require any jQuery. You just download it. It comes like the jQuery is responsible for those beautiful animations and query cells that stories the sliders. That's what the jQuery does. But if at all you just want to display your colors and just something basic, you don't need the JS. And those ones actually require internet connection. To have them work effectively, you need internet. But actually for this project, we just added our CSS. I didn't add anything else. I didn't even add JavaScript. So it was just plain CSS. Any other question? Okay, if there are no questions, oh yes, you can add materialize, you can use any framework, you can use any CSS framework can work, and actually you link them in the same way, so long as they are static files. That's so long as it's CSS, so long as it's JavaScript, it all falls in a static. Images, actually images, that's our next topic, because for images to work properly in Django, you need to install something called pillow. So images won't work because you need to handle them in a specific way. And since we're looking at applications, they need to be stored somewhere. Like, you don't actually store the actual image, you just store the image name. But our next session will be about images. But for them to work effectively, you need to install a dependency called pillow. But shall look at that next time. Any other question? Okay, if there are no other questions, let's call it a day. Please practice. See you next time.